Codependency and breakups is a very toxic, is a very dangerous combination, and perhaps the reason you're struggling right now with your breakup is that you bear an element of codependency in the dynamic that you had with your ex-partner. As a therapist, I'm going to share with you the different reasons why it's so hard to deal with a breakup when we feel that we are codependent, and obviously some tips on how to overcome those things. Jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, let's define codependency very briefly. This video is not about codependency, but it's about how it can impact the breakup and how it can impact your life after the breakup if your ex decided to end the relationship with you. It's the idea that your worth is tied of taking care of your partner. In a way, sacrificing. In a way, I need to sacrifice myself, and it's the only way that person will value me, that person will validate me. So it's very common. Not all people with anxious, preoccupied attachment will feel this way, but it's very common amongst anxious attachment people. In other words, my value depends on other. So again, it's really the idea that I need to work hard, I need to sacrifice. There's an element of effort, there's an element of pain associated with love. Obviously, it's down to our childhood, it's down to different attachment figures when you were younger, and we'll discuss how to break those dynamics, how to break those patterns that are obviously toxic in the context of a relationship, and that makes it harder for you to deal with the context of breakups. So the first one is the loss of identity, because we define ourselves within the construct of a relationship. When this relationship ends, we feel completely lost. We feel empty. Right? We feel like we have no value because our value is linked to the person we dated. And so the challenge right now is, how can you define yourself? Because right now the real struggle is, my identity, my life was my relationship. That's the only thing that mattered. I didn't matter in a way. So my tip is to really reflect on the question of who you are as a person. You were not born dating your ex. You had a life before. You had friends before. So who is this person? And you might be thinking, I didn't like that person before I met my ex-partner, because my ex-partner helped me to become the person I am. Maybe that's the case. I'm pretty sure that it's not entirely the case. You also manage to have your own interests, your own hobbies, your own friends, your own life. And that maybe your ex helped you to become the person you are, or helped you and supported you on developing skills or talents. But these are things that are, that you own yourself. So it's really the question of, okay, the pain of the breakup, I'm on my own, I feel lost, I feel confused. Let's use this opportunity to reflect on yourself. What is your identity? And it's a very difficult question. And I forgot to mention, but everything that I mentioned in this video is something that you would discuss with the therapist. This video doesn't replace therapy sessions. It's really to help you analyze, and if you can do that work on your own, do it. I'm more than happy to have thousands of people watching my videos and doing the work on their own and getting better on their own. But it's basically something you would discuss with a therapist, whether it's myself or anyone that you find online. Fear of abandonment. This is linked to anxious attachment style. So obviously it's rooted in your past experiences of relationship, so with your primary attachment figure. It's the idea that when it comes to separation, you switch to a fight or flight mode, in distress, not being able to soothe. Right? Avoidant people, they have an element of self-soothing. Anxious people, they don't know how to self-soothe. And so what happens is you overreact. You kind of feel the rejection is extremely hard for you because it's very personal. So my tip as a therapist is to reflect on where this fear is coming from. You can't change the past. Your job as an adult is to understand that where you're coming from, understanding that these aspects of your life, these belief system, these wounds, these insecurities are driving the way you perceive life, are basically driving your reality. And based on that, you can decide whether you want to continue living in the fear of abandonment or if you want to let go. And again, this is something that you can work out alone, having a journal and listing your things. I will put together something in the description for you to sort of have worksheets for you to do the work on your own, or in something you can do with a therapist. Low self-esteem, again, is the idea that you need external validation. Of course, we're in a world where we're connected with everyone. We have social media. Even myself, when I post things online, there's an element of validation. I want to know whether my content will be popular, whether I'm going to have likes and comments and interactions. And so it's very hard in today's life to be immune to validation. And it's normal to seek validation. The problem is managing this in the context of a breakup. Because then when we don't have this validation from this person, we feel not worthy of love. And we sometimes internalize this breakup as a personal failure. Even though your ex took the decision to break up with you, this is also their responsibility. So we often default to the I need to change, I need to do something, that was my fault. They're also at fault. They have a part of responsibility. A breakup is always 50-50. So it's important to reflect on your own worth and surround yourself with positive people. In the context of cooperation in companies, sometimes you do 360 feedback. It's something that I use with my clients. It's basically asking people around, people that you care, your family, your friends, but how they perceive you. And that will boost automatically your self-esteem. Again, I'll put together something that you can read in the description. Another one is ruminating. It's the idea that you constantly replay the events. I should have, could have mindset. And it's normal to have this sort of mindset, trying to analyze, trying to see, The problem with that is when we are stuck and our mind is like a broken record, replaying this again and again and again. And it is typical of anxious people because anxiety is thinking about the same thing again and again and again. And the reason we do it again and again and again is because we think about things that are in the past, things that we can't control, things that we can't change. And therefore we can replay the scenarios as many times as we want. That won't be able to make us move forward. So it's very important to, in that context, have a clear cut between you and the breakup, because that will help you. So it's no contact basically. It will help you to focus on yourself. The problem is when you're in touch with your ex, you're gonna entertain this rumination. You will always be like, yes, I should have, I could have. When you receive a message, because very often after a breakup, people are cold and distant. They don't want to hurt you, so they respond, but they don't want to give you false hopes, or they're not sure, and therefore you're going to have a very difficult conversation with them. And you're going to feel super needy, super clingy. And that will reinforce this, that's all my fault. And you're going to ruminate because it's not going to help you move forward and get back with them. Another one that is very also common for anxious people is the avoidance of feelings. The idea that you distract yourself to avoid processing the pain. Yes, we don't like pain. The pain is a signal. And this idea that we need to distract ourselves, that we need to think of, date someone else right away, rebound right away, in order to avoid processing the pain is a huge mistake. And as a therapist, I know, and if you have a therapist, discuss this with that person, it's important to unpack your emotions. This is where you're going to learn the most about yourself, the most about your belief system. And learning about how to cope with your emotions, how to manage your emotions is a superpower. It will affect and improve all aspects of your life, personal, in the workplace, with your family, with your relationship. It's an amazing tool, and people tend to think, okay, I'm okay with that because I don't think about that. But the problem is that you bottle up those emotions, and soon enough they explode. right? And because it's unconscious, we don't see it coming. So it's very important to learn about emotional regulation, to learn about cognitive behavioral therapy. Again, it's something that you can do on your own. I'm not preaching to necessarily book consultations with me. You can find anyone online, but it's very important for you to bring awareness and understand about how your mind works, understand about how you can deconstruct those thought process. And again, if you want to learn more, there's a cheat sheet. I don't know if it's how you pronounce it in the description for you to do the work, keep a journal, and progress at your own pace. So you're on the path, and congratulate yourself for that. Give you a high five. Yes, of course, this breakup is not something you chose. And if you could, you would be in another position. However, let this pain, let this event, let this situation be the first step of a journey. That will be potentially long, potentially difficult, but that will provide an amazing outcome, a fulfilling end. The idea that you're going to learn to love yourself more. You're going to grow as a result of this breakup, because right now you have no other option but to look inward, right? And reclaiming the person you truly are, because you've lost that person not in the breakup, you've lost that person in this relationship because of this element of codependency. Take care of yourself. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Take care.
For a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.